the Be the Hero channel. My name is Isabelle and I help you understand the stars so that you can have more control and clarity over your day. Now we are doing something very, very different today that we have never done before here at the Be the Hero channel, which is one, bring on Jiraiya, my younger brother.
I thought you didn't notice me. I thought you didn't realize I was here. I was waiting for a grand entrance.
Well, so today we have Jiraiya joining us on the channel because we wanted to do a bit of a different approach to basically talk about astrology compatibility and how we can interpret that. And we're going to talk about it under the scope of a very popular subject right now with the Barbie movie coming out featuring Ryan Gosling and Margot Robbie. There's been a lot of talk about the movie, and so Jiraiya wanted to do a video breaking down the compatibility between these two characters slash people. So, welcome to the channel, Jiraiya.
Hi there, it's good to be here. I've been waiting a while to get on here. The wait list is forever.
The wait list?
Yeah, there's some big people that get on here.
Like?
I don't have a list on me.
Anyway, so in this video, we're going to break down, Jiraiya's got a lot of questions. He did all the research about these characters, and we're basically going to look into these two people's charts and see what we find.
Yeah, we don't normally do this, and even me, I don't normally do anything involving natal charts or astrology. I think it's kind of weird, kind of put you in a box. That's what I used to think. But now I think it more as a way to know where I will succeed and where I won't. I don't have to do anything my natal chart says, but it helps me know, okay, this is where I will have good luck, this is where I won't have good luck. And it's crazy how spot on it is. And I kind of want to show people, like, wait a second, other people need to see this, how insanely accurate these can be, especially in the relationship conjunction area of it. It's kind of crazy. We are talking about Barbie and Ken, the latest main characters in this movie you might have heard about, Barbie. It came out July 21st, and it nearly grossed $1 billion. That's a lot of money. More money than this video is going to make, so please subscribe. But anyway, this movie was such the rant for a while. And, well, the main characters are in this relationship. And I was wondering, wait, even though, you know what happens at the end. If you don't, I'm not going to say. But I was wondering, where did the relationship go wrong? How could they have done better in the relationship? And would the relationship even have been authentic? Now, we're not talking about Barbie and Ken's relationship. We're talking about the actor and the actress that play them, because actually, I don't know if the two porcelain dolls actually have personality, because they're kind of stuck in the same smile.
Out of curiosity, are these people married?
Yes, those two. Yeah.
So this is just a theoretical idea of looking at compatibility for the characters based off of their charts.
Exactly.
So, what do you know about the charts so far, Jiraiya, and what do you want to start?
Well, we should probably start with their sun. Now, Isabelle, I don't know at all anything about astrology. What is your sun sign?
Your sun sign is basically just the general gist of who you are. The sun is the ego and the life giver, both life giver in life and seen as that in astrology. And so with that, wherever your sun was at your time or day of birth is what energizes you to embrace, and also tends to be your ego self. We all have egos. They all present themselves in different ways. It is our protective persona, so to say. And so whatever our sun sign is, that is the protective persona we go to in order to protect ourselves from harm, as opposed to the moon sign, which is much deeper. The sun sign is also sometimes not that accurate, it can feel, because you have so many other placements. So the sun is just the general gist of who you are, and it can play a role in compatibility, but not heavily.
So it's like the sun sign, like when I'm asking a friend, what's your sign? That's what they're usually going to answer.
Yes, because the sun moves every roughly 30 days, 28 days, and so 30 days. So it's like halfway through each month it shifts signs, and so everyone within that month will have that same sign.
Okay, and that can be a very general way to see what a person's personality type will be like.
Yeah, you can see their general tendencies, and you really can get a good pinpoint on them, like knowing that you are a Cancer is like, oh, well,
I'm emotional.
You're emotional at the core, you want to care and be nurturing. Whereas, like, I'm an Aries, and that's why I am, there's a fly in here, and it's really annoying.
Yeah.
And I'm an Aries, and you can tell. But it's also because of my other placements of Aries that can seem strong, and strong placements for you of Cancer that seem strong. So again, it's like that general, like, oh, I can see that tendencies, but also not anything that's super high on the profile. Also, sun signs can generally show what makes us feel like we're living a good life. So for Cancers, like Jiraiya, you love flies landing on you. And you also think that a life is best lived when surrounded by those you love and feeling emotionally secure. Whereas as an Aries sun, a life is best lived when chasing and pursuing, doing new things.
Okay, but we're not here to talk about us, because we're boring. We're talking about cool people.
Okay.
Barbie and Ken.
Okay, so?
So, when he says his sun sign is in... Let me pull this up 1 second.
Drum roll.
So when it says his sun is in his 8th house, what does that mean? Cause
that's different than the sign.
That's different than the sign, because it said our Ken here is a Scorpio. Now, Scorpios themselves...
Ken being Ryan Gosling.
Yeah, it's going to get a little confusing. But yes, our Ken here is a Scorpio. Now, do you know anything about Scorpios? Well, they are the scorpion. Not in a bad way, but a good way to describe them is the scorpion. They are very unique, and they're very close. Like, they live in their caves. They live in their caves.
Do they, though?
Well, in some way. They live in their caves, and they go out, and they kind of have this mysterious mystique air to them. And they do have a little venom they can attack people with. But that's just because they like to wait. They like to have their time. They like to have their, not in a bad way. Jump their prey. A little bit, an almost greed that they have to them. Not in a bad way to offend any of you guys. But that's the way to describe them. They are in their cave. They'll come out at certain times. They'll be a little timid at first. And honestly, it takes a while to learn to love and care. And it takes even more time for them to learn to love and care about you. So that's the hard part about Scorpios. But Scorpios themselves will be really unique, and these really just cool, sensitive people once they'll just tear their husk away.
Yeah, so the Scorpio archetype is one of depth and transformation. It comes after Libra, and in Libra, it's where we're more in the first stage of getting to meet people, where we're friendly, open, and detached. Where Scorpio is where we want to dive deep, and that is the role Scorpio plays in the zodiac wheel. They are an investigator. They dive deep. They see that 95% of the iceberg is beneath the surface, which is why they can seem so mistrusting, because they assume that everyone has secrets that they are hiding. And so Scorpios, as a sun sign, are people who are generally focused on finding a sense of depth in life, which could be through intense obsessions with others, addictions, but not necessarily, though. Scorpios are not bound to have addictions.
No.
It just means that they're going to want to be focused in everything they do. But there are also people who want to open up to trust and value living a life in an emotionally fulfilling way, because they are a water sign.
Okay. So what did the 8th house mean?
The 8th house is, so there's a sign and a house that every planet placement is in.
Okay.
The sign is the vibe, like the general tendencies. So the planets are different parts of our personality. The sign it's in shows us the vibe of that part of our personality, or our worldview, or ourselves.
So it's
and the house is where that shows up.
So it'd be like my love life. If it was in Leo, it would be kind of be like I'm really excited and rambunctious in my love life. But if it was like in a Libra, it would be more calm and like caring. Okay, that makes sense.
But if it's Venus, for example, is not just the planet of love, so it's not your love life, it is how you find beauty in life. So like that part of your perception where you find beauty. And if it's in your 7th house, then that shows up in your love life. But if it's in maybe your 10th house, this shows up primarily in your career.
Okay, so yeah. Scorpio, Sun, 8th house. What does that mean? I'm at a loss.
Also, each of the houses reflects a zodiac sign.
Okay.
So 1st house is Aries, 8th house is Scorpio. So Ken, Ryan Gosling, has double Scorpio energy, which means he's a very intense person in his intimate relationships. When it comes to intimacy, he wants to be obsessive and fully committed, dive head in. And because this is his sun, this is a very important part of him. So
if he's going to do something, he's going to go all in on it.
Yes.
That makes sense.
But there can also be some, on the negative side, some manipulation tactics, but in the positive, deep, intimate commitment.
Okay, and that's probably just because the Scorpio gets scared of people not going to hurt them because they're not trusting, right?
Yes.
Oh, okay, this makes sense. Okay, so what is our Barbie?
Let's see. Based off of her chart, looking at it, Margaret Robbie has a sun in 12th house in Cancer.
Whoa. Her Cancer like me?
Mm-hmm.
Did you know she has the same birthday as me?
Yeah, can you tell? Can you see the resemblance? There's like a solid 20-year difference in age or something, but they're the same.
Yeah, we're exactly the same.
So with the sun in Cancer, your core values are, again, like a water sign. So Virgo and Cancer are both water signs, which is good for compatibility. However, Scorpio and Cancer go about emotional fulfillment in very different ways. Scorpio wants depth and trust and intimacy, and also mistrusting and power, which is fine. And also, Cancer wants security and nurturance, and so they're a much more sensitive and soft energy.
A very yin and yang experience, then, it must be Scorpio.
Almost.
Cancer.
Almost, yeah. Their thing with all the water signs, in a way, is that they can lack logical perception and put themselves in other people's shoes because of the fact that they can get so lost in their deep emotions.
So, what are things that a Cancer and a Scorpio would have to do to get along with each other? Do you have to find like a neutral middle ground to hang out with each other? Or?
Well, for starters, also too, where this shows up is different for them. So this happens, her sun is in 12th house, which means that she primarily is this soft, sensitive self with herself in her mind. It's something that she hides. Whereas Ryan Gosling wants to be his Scorpio in his intimate relationships. So it's likely that this Cancer part of Margot Robbie would not be seen in that relationship as much. But yes, it would be good to know that they both are going to want emotional fulfillment in different ways, and that they're both going to be very emotional people, and that can be also a strength because they're going to both be aware.
Okay, so we got that so far. We said the relationship would have to work out, and do explain that. How would this relationship have to work out just from this so far basic understanding?
Of the sun signs?
Yeah.
Knowing that she is a Cancer and he is a Scorpio, they would have to meet in the middle, probably around emotions, and Ryan Gosling would have to accept that Margot Robbie wants more emotional nurturance and alone time, in that Margot Robbie would have to accept English, that Ryan Gosling wants to be more deep and intimate and mysterious.
Okay. All I know is Mercury's a planet, and it's a really cool car that Alan Jackson sings about.
The only thing is, usually we talk about moon next, which I think plays a huge role in...
Wait, the moon can influence you?
The moon is one of the more important aspects when it comes to compatibility. The moon is the planet of the emotions, and it shows, excuse me, what you need for emotional fulfillment. So, based off of your moon sign in a relationship, you guys might need different things for emotional fulfillment. If I am a moon in Cancer in my 7th house, I want a nurturing one-on-one relationship that fulfills me the most. But if you were a moon in Cancer in your 1st house, maybe, then you would need more nurturing time with yourself.
Okay, so let's see what a little Barbie is.
So Barbie, Margot Robbie, is a moon in Scorpio in her 3rd house.
Oh, so right now they have a little correlation, a little bit of Scorpio that they do.
Right. So she might find, if she does not embrace her own emotions well, she might find that she is attracted to Ryan Gosling because of his Scorpio energy, that he fulfills and is opening and embracing something that she does not allow herself to embrace.
So it can kind of be a codependency.
It could be, or she could be healthy in it, and it will just be a healthy balance. However, her Scorpio is in her moon in Scorpio is in her 3rd house, which means that she'd rather be deep when it comes to her learning and in her teaching and her expression, which is probably why she could get heavily invested into her roles.
Yeah, and I heard that she gets really into her roles, and Barbie gets really into her clothes.
Sure, whatever you
the
say.
Correlation. Now, our Ken here has a moon in 11th house, which I think the 11th house is community. Can you explain that? I have no idea what this means.
What is the sign it's in? You're gonna have to scroll up. You're on aspects right now. Dry's never read a chart before, so he just pulled these.
Capricorn. That makes sense. Capricorns usually do have this professional demeanor to them, so his emotions are very refined and very straightforward and very nice, lickety-split.
Lickety-split, okay. Well, with the moon in Capricorn, Dry is partially right that you are someone who is emotionally fulfilled through having clear goals. A moon in Capricorn makes someone very emotionally stable. And this is very interesting for for Ryan Gosling, is that he may have a sun in Scorpio, which would make him seem like he's deep and mysterious, but his actual emotional body which is the core of all of our beings as human beings, is very stable. Whereas Margaret Robbie, who appears soft and gentle on the outside, especially with a Cancer rising, has a deep moon in Scorpio, which means that she loves to investigate, she loves to obsess, go all in, change, transform all the time.
So these people are very yin and yang, I can tell so far.
Supposedly, it seems like I wouldn't call it yin and yang, because yin and yang would more imply opposites. They do have some aspects in common, but for example, I wouldn't say the Capricorn Scorpio moons are yin and yang, but it does mean that if his moon's in Capricorn, that's opposite of her core energy, and that can be a bit of a different trait for her, which could be frustrating for a moon in Scorpio. A moon in Scorpio wants to dive deep into things, and because he has a sun in Scorpio, she can find that. But she may find that when it comes to his emotions, it would be unfulfilling and unsatisfying because it's so stable, grounded, and two-dimensional to some degree.
Okay.
People who have a earth moon generally seem to be like, all you care about is goals, and it's true. Or all you care about is the material.
Okay, so a very robotic versus a very rambunctious emotion. That's what I'm kind of getting out of this.
Yeah, kind of. Very practical and grounded emotions versus very ever-changing.
Okay.
And his is in his 11th house, which is he gets that fulfillment in his community, being goal-oriented in his community and with his dreams.
Striving to be the best of a certain group. Okay.
Whereas she has a moon in Scorpio in her 3rd house, so she can be much more to herself about her emotional fulfillment.
Okay. Now to another one. I know you're probably bored, but this is the one that you really want to know. Because I'm asking the Venus. Venus is the Roman god of love. She is the Romans' version of Aphrodite. And you can guess what this planet is going to be in charge of. But it's not exactly love. It's how you will be in a relationship and how you'll be in...
Life.
So, my little Ken here's Venus is in Libra.
So, one thing with Venus, it is more so about our love for life and rules over all that's beautiful. In a way, it shows us our love language, not necessarily how we'll be in a relationship, but for guys, whatever their Venus is, they're going to look for a girl who holds those feminine energies of that. So, like, Ryan Gosling would be looking for someone who has Libra qualities, assuming that he's more in his masculine energy than his feminine.
What if he's more in his feminine?
Then he'd probably be looking to compensate for someone who has his Mars energy.
Okay, because Mars and Libra are opposites, kind of?
Mars and Libra are like masculine and feminine.
Okay, that makes more sense.
So men generally should be in their masculine looking for the feminine while also fulfilling part of it in themselves. This is where it's more like yin and yang. You want to embrace both. Everyone has masculine and feminine energy, and they're going to predominantly take over one and look for the one that is inferior in another.
Okay, so I know his now.
Margaret Robbie's.
Barbie's.
I
keep yelling at her.
Do I have to say Barbie?
Yes.
Her Venus is in Gemini in her 11th house.
Oh! I don't know what that means.
So, they both have air sign Venuses. That's also good for compatibility because they have a similar love language. They probably find that friendly banter is something that is a great place to connect from because they both value connection, they both value socialization. The one difference is Barbie is going to find that she finds more fulfillment in this realm through her social community. And what house is his in?
Ooh, good question. Let me find it.
Scroll down.
Oh, down.
No, too far.
Down. Too far.
Up. Right there. Venus is in his 7th house. So he wants to be in a relationship. He's looking for someone who holds Libra energies, who's diplomatic, peaceful, easygoing, open, and friendly. And he wants to be, that's important for specifically his relationships, because that is his 7th house of one-on-one partnership and marriage. Whereas her Venus is in her community house, which again, Venus is not just about our love life, it's about our love for life.
Okay, so a quick question right now, because I'm getting a little confused and you guys might get confused. Can you only be with someone who has that opposite with you? Or let's say if your Venus is in Libra, could my spouse have a Venus in Taurus? Or just not work? Do I have to find the opposite?
No. There's no such thing as limitation in astrology. There's only just it helps you navigate based off of a limited source of information, so that if you feel lost, you can have some guidelines. But no, you don't have to be with someone with certain traits. I have found that people do tend to be drawn towards those, though, who have either a man finds someone who has the Venus energy, or a woman finds someone who has the Mars energy.
So, if a man had feminine, would he be looking for a woman with a masculine energy?
Yes, then you have this inverse going. So, for example, if he was very strongly in his feminine, really embracing Libra's energies, being diplomatic and peaceful to an extreme degree, and being social, then he would look for someone who is his Mars, which is...
His Mars? Sagittarius.
So then he would be looking for someone who has this strong, controlling, dominant energy, who wants to be adventurous and explore. But naturally, we should all look for someone who has a balance of both, who fulfills both. It's just that naturally the masculine should be in masculine energy dominantly while embracing their feminine, and the feminine should be in their feminine energy with some of their masculine.
So, the planet that's in charge of communication, I learned this 5 seconds ago, is Mercury. I'm not going to tell you what god Mercury is, but communication is really important. There's miscommunication right here. In a relationship, that's even more important than their love of life, because, you know, I guess you could be in a relationship if you guys talk, you guys are both mute.
But that doesn't work.
It's not fun. You don't want to be invited to the parties then. So, my Ken here... Not my Ken, that sounded weird. His Mercury is in Scorpio.
More energy in Scorpio, I assume in his 7th house too? Or in his 8th?
That's a good point, and I'm going to tell you right now, it's in his 7th. He actually has 5 houses in 7th.
5 houses in 7th?
5 things in the 7th
5 planets in the 7th house?
5 houses and planets.
5 houses and planets. Okay. And Barbie over here, played by Margot Robbie, is a Mercury in Cancer, also in 12th house.
Whoa.
So it's conjunct her sun.
What does conjunct her sun mean?
Conjunct means they're right next to each other.
What does that mean in a relationship?
Well, it's not necessarily so important that it's conjunct her sun as far as relationship compatibility goes at first. The first thing is he's a Mercury in Scorpio.
Okay, so he talks in a very secretive, mysterious, very almost, don't hold me against this, ruthless.
No, not necessarily ruthless, but you're right on before that.
Very cold and curt and mysterious almost. Likes to be seductive and a little flirtatious.
Yes, I wouldn't say cold and curt, but yes, there's a realm of mystery and investigation with a Mercury in Scorpio. And when it's in his 7th house, so he wants to do this in his relationships.
Okay, so this is a person that wants to kind of have small debates.
Yes, but like dive deep specifically into their partner. Not necessarily banter, but dive deep into their partner. But the problem is, in this case, she has a Mercury in Cancer 12th house, and she wants to keep her mental process to herself. So this could lead to some conflict because one wants to dive deep and the other wants to focus on themselves.
So how would they have to get around this? Because conversation is super important. It sounds like they could have
They'd probably have to find a middle point. So like, she does have, the 3rd house is also said to do with communication. So her moon is in Scorpio in her 3rd house. So she has to let some of that mystery come out and communicate with a partner in practical, logical ways, as all people have to do, in order to share her feelings. And he can absorb that, but when it comes to her mind and how her mind works, she might be more reclusive.
Okay, we could go into every aspect of them, but there are 12 planets. No, not 12.
Please hold while he does
12 different, no, not 12 planets, but 12 different things. There's your Lilith, your Pluto, your North Node, your Neptune, Uranus, Saturn, Jupiter, Mars, Venus, Mercury, Moon. We're not going to go through that, or this video will be even longer. But we have a very general aspect of what these people are going to be like. Because those things we just said, the Moon, the Sun, the Mercury, and the Venus, play the most important roles in a relationship and how this person is going to act with people. Now, there's going to be other ones around, like how you make money, how you're not going to make money, and that's going to be in charge. That planet is what? That's your Jupiter that's in charge of wealth.
No, I have a whole video actually talking about how I manifested money, so go watch that one, because there's a lot of different aspects that could cover how you make money, and it just depends on your chart. There are also 2 other aspects that I would consider primarily important for compatibility astrology. which is the 5th house and the 7th house.
Which are?
The 5th house is the house of romance and play, the first stages of relationship, and the 7th house is committed partnership.
Okay. Do dive into that a little bit.
As in what they are, or
yeah,
what
are theirs? I really want to know how these people would act, and then how would they meet each other, and how would they learn to like each other, and also if they were together, how stable and how would it be like?
So what is his 7th house?
His 7th house, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 8, Saturn.
That's not how that works. He just counted through the planets. So the 7th house, there's the planets in the houses. There's the planets in the houses and also the houses in the signs. So look on the right hand side. You see the Roman numerals?
Yeah.
So what does the 7th house start in?
7th house.
Which is?
Virgo.
So his 7th house is Virgo and hers is Capricorn. So they're both earth signs. That's good because they both want to be grounded in a relationship. They're looking for something practical and stable in the material world. Margaret Robbie, Barbie, would be more focused on goals in a career, which is good because he has a moon there. Whereas Ryan Gosling would be focused more on like selfless service in a relationship. He
could help her a lot, and that could fulfill him and her.
But she wants someone who's goal oriented. So as long as he's goal oriented, that would be compatible.
Could his goal be to help her with her goals?
No. But he does have a Capricorn moon in his 11th house, so that would be good.
Okay, so honestly, what you're saying is these people wouldn't be the worst for each other. But now we know how the relationship would work. Her not loving to talk about what goes on in her mind. Him needing a little bit of playful banter. Where would this relationship go wrong if you were to guess?
Probably the fact that she has a lot of 12th house energy, as 12th house energy can be a big struggle, and he does not. When people have a lot of 12th house energy, they want to keep to themselves, and when two people have that, that's more agreeable because both people are on the same page of being reserved. Or even if they had more Pisces energy, potentially.
And sounds like in this relationship, they want to spread their energy in different places, because you said she wants to be very social. She would spend her energy elsewhere when he would spend his energy getting his goals.
Right, or like where she wants to spend her energy on community, he wants to spend it in partnership, and where he wants to spend his energy in partnership, she wants to spend it in isolation.
Okay, so it sounds like their communication would be good, their emotions would be pretty level-headed, but they would fail in...
It just depends. So
it
depends on how people embrace their energy. The thing is with astrology is that people embrace different parts of their charts differently. Some people can be really healthy in their moon, some people cannot, some people can really own their sun signs, some people cannot. So it just depends on how they chose to navigate it.
Okay, so there we go. That's the compatibility of Ken and Barbie. Sounds like they would actually do pretty well together. There'd be a lot of issues, but I think that the issues would almost give them stability. But of course, sadly, that is not true because obviously they didn't push through. It sounds like it would have been a relationship where they had to push through and actually be aware of their emotions. I don't know, because a Scorpio is not usually aware of their emotions and they don't want to admit it. And a Cancer, as you said she was, is incredibly emotional and almost too volatile for the Scorpio. So they didn't go together, but I think they could have. Thanks for joining us today. That was honestly super fun to have a conversation. We'll try to keep the next one shorter. But if there's some people you want us to look up their astrology for, please comment. This is going to be super fun.
Let us know in the comments below. And be sure to subscribe to the YouTube channel and stay tuned for more video breaking down people's stars and the stars currently. While you are down there, if you want to learn more about compatibility, specifically maybe even compatibility for a future partner for yourself or your current partner, then book a reading with me in the link in the description below. Book a self-revolution reading with me where we can dive deep into this, along with if you want to learn your soul's purpose and who you are, not only using astrology, but also numerology and the Enneagram, which give you the whole picture of who you are. So book that in the link in the description below. Once again, my name's Isabelle.
My name's Jiraiya.
Namaste.
Be the hero.